Every time you avoid discomfort, your self-trust shrinks. Not all at once, not dramatically, but quietly, almost invisibly. The comfort zone is often misunderstood. We are told it's laziness, weakness, lack of ambition. But that's not true. Your comfort zone was built to protect you. It's your brain's safety system. It's the part of you that wants stability, certainty, emotional security. In many ways, it's a strength. It means you value safety. It means you've learned from pain. The problem isn't that you have a comfort zone. The problem is when you start living inside it. Because slowly, without realizing it, the very thing that protects you begins to shrink your confidence. Let's talk about why. Number 1. Avoidance rewires your brain to believe you can't handle discomfort. Psychology shows that when we avoid something stressful, whether it's a difficult conversation, applying for a job, speaking up in a meeting, or even sending a risky text, our brain registers relief. Relief feels good, and your brain loves relief. Research on anxiety and avoidance behavior indicates that every time you escape discomfort, your brain strengthens the belief that the situation was dangerous. It reinforces the idea, good thing we didn't do that. That could have gone badly. But here's what actually happens. You never give yourself the chance to prove you could handle it. So your brain never updates the story. Instead of building evidence that you're capable, you build evidence that you need to hide. And over time, your self-image shifts from "I can try" to "I probably can't." That's not because you're incapable. It's because you haven't collected proof that you are. Number 2. Your self-confidence is built on self-trust, not success. Most people think confidence comes from winning, from getting the job, from being liked, from succeeding. But research in self-efficacy shows something deeper. Confidence grows from taking action despite uncertainty. It's not the outcome that builds confidence. It's the act of showing up. When you say you'll go to the gym and you don't. When you say you'll start that project and you delay it. When you say you'll set boundaries and then stay silent. You're not just avoiding discomfort. You're quietly breaking promises to yourself. And every broken promise chips away at self-trust. Self-trust is the foundation of confidence. Not perfection, not talent, not validation. Just trust. The more you stay in your comfort zone, the less you practice keeping your word to yourself. And the less you trust yourself, the smaller you feel. But here's the empowering part. You don't need massive success to rebuild confidence. You just need small acts of courage repeated consistently. Number 3. The comfort zone shrinks your identity. There's a psychological principle called identity-based behavior. Research suggests we act in ways that reinforce who we believe we are. If you consistently avoid hard conversations, you begin to see yourself as someone who avoids conflict. If you consistently avoid risks, you start to believe you're not the bold type. If you consistently stay silent, you start to think, I'm just not confident. Notice how dangerous that becomes. Temporary avoidance turns into permanent identity. The comfort zone doesn't just limit your actions. It rewrites your story about who you are. And once your identity shrinks, your world shrinks with it. You stop applying. You stop trying. You stop imagining bigger possibilities. Not because you lack potential, but because your self-image has adapted to safety instead of growth. And identity is powerful. The good news? Identity can expand the same way it shrank. One courageous action at a time. Number 4. Discomfort is the birthplace of proof. Research on exposure therapy shows something powerful. When people gradually face what they fear, anxiety decreases over time. Why? Because the brain learns, I survived. Discomfort isn't what destroys confidence. Avoidance is. Every time you step into something uncomfortable and survive, even if it's messy, even if it's imperfect, you collect evidence. Evidence that you can handle rejection. Evidence that you can handle awkwardness. Evidence that you can handle uncertainty. Evidence is not the absence of discomfort. It's the memory of surviving it. Think about a time you did something that scared you. Maybe you moved to a new place. Maybe you ended a relationship. Maybe you spoke up when your voice was shaking. You didn't feel ready. You did it anyway. And afterward, something shifted. That shift wasn't success. It was proof. Number 5. Safety can become a slow form of self-abandonment. This one is harder to hear. When you repeatedly silence your desires to stay comfortable, you send yourself a message. My growth is less important than my fear. And over time, that creates quiet resentment. You watch other people take risks. You see opportunities pass. You feel stuck. Not because life is unfair, but because fear keeps making your decisions. The comfort zone feels peaceful in the moment, but long-term, it creates regret. And regret damages confidence more than failure ever could. Failure says, I tried and it didn't work. Regret says, I didn't even try. And deep down, you know the difference. But here's what I want you to understand. If you've been living inside your comfort zone, that doesn't mean you're weak. It means you've been protecting yourself. Maybe you were criticized growing up. Maybe you were rejected. Maybe you learned that standing out led to pain. Your comfort zone kept you safe, and that matters. But the version of you that needed protection back then is not the same version of you now. You are more capable than your fear allows you to see. Confidence doesn't explode overnight. It expands in inches. One uncomfortable email, one honest conversation, one application submitted, one boundary set, one moment of courage. Each time you choose discomfort on purpose, your self-trust grows. And when self-trust grows, confidence follows naturally. So here's a simple reflection. Where in your life are you choosing comfort over growth? And what is one small, slightly uncomfortable action you can take this week? Not something extreme, not something overwhelming, just something that stretches you. Because every time you avoid discomfort, your self-trust shrinks. But every time you face it, even imperfectly, you become someone you can rely on. And that is real confidence. If this resonated with you, you're not alone. Most people are quietly fighting this same battle. Subscribe for more psychology insights that help you understand yourself on a deeper level and grow into the version of you that's been waiting outside your comfort zone. Your confidence isn't gone. It's just waiting for proof.